Hey everyone, this is Dr. Ted Lin. Today's date is Saturday, March 14th, 2020. Sorry, I'm trying to, kind of go through all my fact checks and, kind of double checking my references to whatever I put out to make sure that, the information I give you is accurate. And man, God, after having kids just at home today and not being able to go to a lot of places, I don't know if I'm more scared of COVID-19 in the ER with, kind of the place getting overrun, or having my two toddlers at home, kind of just destroying the place. But anyways, they're outside right now, so I have a little bit of a moment to kind of talk about a few things. Hey, so I'm sorry about the update for Colorado testing. So I just want to kind of talk about Colorado testing. Yesterday, Governor Polis went ahead and stated that they had recommended people to get checked if you have flu-like illnesses, so they could track you epidemiologically. So it has nothing to do with kind of how it would help from a medical perspective, but they wanted to start tracking. And after I kind of put that out, I got a lot of calls, emails from frontline providers just saying, hey, this is not happening. We just can't check. We don't have the test. We don't have the capability and whatnot. So it took me a little while to sort through. And even, the limited few people that I sent to the Colorado drive-through testing weren't able to get their results back. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit. So, it sounds like there's, just kind of straight off the bat, I know kind of our country is really politically charged right now, but y'all have to just drop the political bullshit. While I'm kind of looking at the news online, there's just so much blame going back and forth. Look at the data, okay? This is not going to be a Democrat or a Republican thing. We need to come together, and I may be wrong, okay? This may just be completely overblown. I might be overblowing it. I might be analyzing my data wrong, but for real, you gotta throw out the political slant. Look at it from just the data. Don't listen to, whose fault is what and things like that, because this is turning into a physician's worst nightmare, right? It's like, we joke around having our hospital, administrators, with these MBAs running hospitals, and nobody knows kind of the clinical side of things. Man, to have politicians, kind of doing public health, Jesus, I don't know how bad it could be. But anyways, so I think what kind of ended up happening was, I think Polis, and again, this is just kind of my personal opinion, he has a political kind of slant to it as well. He obviously wants Colorado to look good. I think Colorado is also balancing on keeping our economy running. We're in the middle of ski season. This is kind of the high season right now for us. So we're trying to balance the economy with, kind of what's going on with this, kind of COVID-19 piece and whatnot. And for my opinion, it's just a bad idea. And I'll kind of go through the data and why, because I'm still getting a lot of people, just kind of talking to me like, hey, why is this a big deal? This only affects the older people and things along those lines. So we'll go into that during this video as well. But just real briefly about the testing, okay? So this is kind of what's going on from what I understand, talking to people on the front lines, talking to, kind of test sites, not being able to, access results myself. So it sounds like, there is a disconnect, between kind of what the governor kind of says we could do and what we can actually do, okay? So as of now, as of today is Saturday, March 14th, this is the information that I have. I've talked to multiple people, and I don't know what's kind of going on. No one wants to go on record. So there's obviously some sort of muzzling going on. I don't know what it is, and maybe this is going to cost me my job, I don't know, but I did talk to my hospital administrator, and she's been okay with me kind of doing these videos. So what's kind of going on is Quest and LabCorp will test, okay? The reason why it takes about 3 to 4 days for those results to come back is those are not done locally. Those are sent out to a lab, run in an out-of-state lab, and the results get sent back. Colorado Department of Human Health does have a local lab that will run things. They're already at capacity. They could still, as far as I know, they could run 80 tests per day. That probably has increased, but that was the last I had heard. So once they kind of hit their capability based on your risks, the higher priority ones go to the state, other ones get sent out to LabCorp and Quest. Now the issue is LabCorp and Quest have said that they will run the test, but they will not collect specimens, which means that if you have flu-like symptoms or whatnot, you go there, they will not collect. So you have to go to your provider's office, ER, urgent care, whatever it is. Now the problem with that is right now, right, is like these sites are kind of getting overrun because everybody is panicking. Because we did tell people, hey, it's initially my recommendation was, hey, if you're not like short of breath, kind of feeling awful, this is the worst thing you've ever felt, having kind of emergency room type symptoms, don't go to a clinic, don't go to the ER. You're just putting yourself at more risk. So what's kind of going on is when Polis went ahead and said, hey, everybody with flu-like symptoms, go ahead and get tested because we want to follow and track this epidemiologically, we don't have the frontline capability to do so, and we don't have the tests to do so. And this is not coming from an official capacity, this is coming from me. At this point, I would stay at home, okay? I would stay at home, even if you have flu-like symptoms. At this point, quarantine yourself, okay, until we could get more tests, okay? Until we could kind of get our frontline healthcare, kind of facilities, kind of squared away and we really have a good plan. And here's the reason why, okay? Because if you have a man cold, okay, just a common cold, and you go to a place where everybody's kind of crawling, all it takes is, 90% of the people who go there have regular colds and they're worried, and 10%, heck, let's just say 5% of the, one or two out of, your 20 people in the waiting room has COVID, the other people have just common colds, you've put yourself at higher risk, right? You've kind of picked that up, you're gonna transmit it, so just don't go. Okay, at this point, this is my recommendation. This is not coming from the state. This is my personal recommendation as of Saturday, March 14th. Because I think if for example, I had a cold today, I would not go get checked out because just, again, results don't really change anything. Right now, I could self-quarantine. Granted, I work in the emergency room. If I go work, yeah, that might be kind of an issue. But at this point, I would not go, okay, just because they just don't have the testing available. Testing also puts everybody at higher risk. So if you guys don't know how the test is done, it's not like a blood draw or whatnot. What they do is they have to stick a swab up your nose or all the way in the back of your throat to collect the sample. And when do you think that's gonna happen, right? People are gonna cough, right? You're gonna sneeze, and if you do have COVID, you do have this virus, it's gonna spread all over the place. So, doing more testing, if you do not need to get tested, right, does one of two things. Again, we have to kind of do these, what we call terminal cleans. So, after you kind of test somebody, they sneeze, you got to clean out everything, disinfect, kind of wait for a certain amount of time to kind of turn these room overs, right? And we just don't have the, we don't have the rooms, the capability and whatnot to do fast turnovers right now. So again, if there's not a real strong legitimate reason for you to go ahead and get this, at this point, don't do it, okay? And I'll elaborate that in a separate video a little bit more if people have more questions, okay? But in Colorado, as of now, my personal opinion as a physician, don't go, okay? Another thing is, kind of what people at urgent care are telling me is, there's the common person feels shortness of breath is very different than what we as medical professionals consider shortness of breath. So you just have to kind of take that, kind of for what it is. We're gonna say, hey, if you have shortness of breath, you wanna go to ER, anything that's kind of potentially unstable. Okay, so you have to really decide for yourself, hey, this isn't like, oh, I feel a little short of breath or whatnot, and then you kind of feel like you need to go and clog up the whole system. I mean, shortness of breath is like, hey, you just ran, 100 meters and you're trying to catch your breath, okay? So, what I tell patients a lot of times is the general rule of thumb is if you have to think about if you're short of breath, you're probably not short of breath, okay? This is something that you're gonna know right away. So just FYI. And a lot of this is also just risk benefit, okay? So, a lot of people are like, hey, Ted, you're full of crap, and that's fine. Like, you're entitled to your own opinion. I'm just kind of giving mine, okay? Some people are like, hey, you're full of crap, but you have to kind of take a look at what the risk versus the benefit, okay? If we end up turning into an Italy, right, where you're starting to hear stories like, hey, their ICU is jam-packed, they're starting to, have to decide who gets the ventilator, someone, who's older, younger, who has the best chance of survival. Let's just say, like, worst case scenario, we end up like Italy, right? You want to take the preparations now, right? So let's say if we don't turn out like Italy, I'm full of crap, that's cool, right? Because you've stayed at home maybe a week, you gotta stay home anyways, kids are pulled out or whatnot. The risks of staying at home now, and kind of just following these precautions are low. The cost to you is not a whole lot, okay? But like if you go out there and, potentially run yourself into trouble, if this thing starts to spread, then that's going to be a lot more of an issue. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say is, kind of the risk benefit, and, I've talked to a friend, he's a former Navy fighter pilot. I may have him, kind of come and do a video with me just to talk about, kind of risk benefit analysis in terms of how to kind of handle this. But really right now, what's the cost? So what? You go ahead, you get some more toilet paper, you're going to have a 6-month supply. You go out, get more food, fill up your fridge. Okay, so you're going to go through it in, 3 weeks instead of your usual 1 week or whatever it is. Low cost, right? So that's kind of what I'm saying is, kind of follow the recommendation, because I think it's worthwhile. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this video with kind of the, I know I kind of ranted a little bit, but we'll just kind of leave it at that. The next video, what I want to talk about is just, again, the risk and the numbers that I've kind of analyzed through. I'll kind of address some of the points I've been hearing on media and what I've been seeing on social media in terms of, people saying, well, this is just kind of, BS. It's not, legit. This is, what's going on. It's not a big deal. And I'll address all those points, okay? So I'll go over kind of the data that I've found and why I feel like, hey, we may be in for a world of hurt. And I think kind of right now, kind of our leaders in government are probably feeling that as well. I think we're getting more data from Italy. So I think, that's hence the reason for, kind of the broad shutdown, the NBA, these pro sports, March Madness, they're not going to be closing down because they think this isn't a big deal, right? There's a lot of money involved. So the people who make these decisions, are, shutting this down. I think they're getting information from the top that I think is really also concerning them. Okay, so I just want to make sure that for the rest of us kind of down here, just, everyday people, that we get the information that we need to keep ourselves and our families safe. Okay, so I'll go ahead and roll on to the next video so each of these videos aren't too long. Okay.